This is the LG C1 with black frame insertion at 120, and I am getting 120 frames here. It's stuttering because this game has shader compilation stutters, but after you play for a while it doesn't stutter anymore. So this LG C1 with black frame insertion at 120 frames is perfection for me. The problem is to get the brightness level that you need to not crush blacks, especially on SDR. And the only way I have to do that is not using PC mode and by not using game optimizer mode. And the problem for most games, the problem is that the input lag is bad. If you're not on PC mode and game optimizer mode, you're sacrificing that input lag. But some games like this, some competitive games like Fortnite, they have an ultra low latency mode built into the game. So for that reason, it feels responsive. It feels good to play. It's not better than using G-Sync. But if you care about motion resolution, wow, this is perfection. This is like a CRT, almost. It's never like it. CRT is perfection, but this is very close to a CRT. And I am getting 120 frames here. GPU utilization is at 80, 82%, 83%, giving me 120 frames. And the CPU, I have a 5800X3D with very fast RAM. So yeah, 3600 RAM, CL16. So yeah, this is very good. This is the reason why I bought this TV. The problem is that at the beginning I was not able to use this black frame insertion because I didn't know how to get the brightness, and you cannot get it. You're supposed to use for PC, you're supposed to use PC mode, and to play video games you're supposed to use game optimizer mode. And if you use that, you cannot use black frame insertion because it's not bright enough. And it's not bright enough because there is a setting that's peak brightness that is locked. On game optimizer mode, that setting is locked. And also the color gamut that I like, the native color gamut, is locked on game optimizer mode, on PC mode. So you have to use a different mode for that. You have to use game console basically mode, which the problem by using a mode that is not PC is that chroma 444 when playing at 4K. But to be honest, I don't see any color banding or any issues right now using console mode. I don't see any color banding on this game. I thought this was not on. I've seen color banding on other games, like Mafia. Mafia has a loading screen that there's no way I can get rid of the color banding. Not even on PC mode. So let's see now that the night is coming. Let's see if I'm crushing blacks. I'm very close to to crush blacks. Let me see. I can see everything, but it's definitely close to crush blacks. Let me go to a darker area. maybe inside. Let me see. I'm still not. Let me, yeah, have a dark room. Yeah, a lot better. So it is not crushing blacks. It is not. Let me go to the forest area with a more darker forest area. Let me go there and see. Yeah, and I have a rock solid 120 frames. I love that. I mean, the reason why I got the C1 instead of the C2 was because black frame insertion at 120 frames. The C2, for some reason, they eliminated that 120. So they have black frame insertion at 60 only on the C2. So this was the reason why I got this, because I thought that has to be like very good. That has to look like a CRT, and that's what I wanted, and it does. I'm not disappointed with that. I'm actually impressed with how good the black frame insertion is. What I didn't know was that I didn't know the black frame insertion was gonna be difficult to use. I didn't know that brightness on this TV was gonna be a problem at all. Actually, I was concerned that it was gonna be too bright and I was not gonna be able to use it for a long time. So I thought, the problem with the OLED is gonna be for me that, it's gonna be very bright and I'm not gonna be able to use it for long, so then I'm gonna have to use the plasma instead, because I thought the plasma is very dim, because that's what they say. They say plasmas are less than 100 nits, especially mine, which is not a high-end plasma. It's less than 100 nits, so it's supposed to be one of the dimmest technology ever, if not the dimmest display technology ever. Not of my experience. At least not the one that I have. Yeah, this is not a person, I think. This is like a robot they have here. That's not a person. I've never played this game, by the way. I don't play this game. It looks very nice. The reason I don't play this game is because people are very good at it. So I don't like it enough to get good at it. My nephew plays this game, and he is one of the best. My nephew is a beast playing this game. He's always winning and winning, and he's amazing building the structures, and yeah, I've seen him playing, and yeah, to get to that level you have to be playing this too much, and I don't care about that. I just play the From Software games, and that's what I like, and something like open world game that you can use a car and something like that. But I like to appreciate the graphics. So on the darkness here at night, it's looking good, but it's almost to the point of crushing blacks. But it's not. It is not crushing the blacks, but almost. Almost. It is definitely darker than you would like it to be. And this is absolutely maxed out. Like, there is no way I can get more brightness here without going to the service menu. Let me show you the settings. So brightness, 100% pixel brightness, 100% contrast, 51 brightness, because that's how I get the OLED black level to still be in perfect black without crushing blacks. I have this option, peak brightness, which you don't have this option on game optimizer mode. So I have this peak brightness on high, gamma 2.2. Of course, you can just do, gamma 1.9, but that's crap. That's the picture. If you do gamma 1.9, the picture looks completely flat. So this is terrible. I need 2.2. So yeah, and then the color. This is the big one. Native color 50, 150. So that's the settings. To be able to use those settings, you cannot be on game optimizer mode. You have to use any other mode. So I'm using cinema. And you cannot be on PC mode. You have to be, let me show you in case you haven't seen any other of my videos. You press the input button, you leave it pressed, and then you go here to the three dots, edit inputs, and you have to be in, you click here, and you have to be on game console. You cannot be on PC mode, otherwise you don't have access to all those settings, especially the color gamut. So yeah, it's perfect, man. If I was gonna play this game, that's what I would use, and it looks perfect. I'm playing with a controller too, which is difficult. People usually prefer to play this with a mouse and keyboard, and I would too. If I was gonna be competitive, with a mouse and keyboard, I'm a lot better in shooting games. So yeah, it is perfect. I mean, it is perfect. Let's see somebody else that knows how to play the game. See how the camera moves. And it's perfection. In movement, the motion resolution is perfection. So what I'm talking about is you move the camera and you don't see any blurriness. None. It's like a CRT. Almost. So yeah, if I was gonna play the game, this is the way I would use it. The colors look amazing. It's not crushing blacks. It's almost there, but it's not crushing blacks. Perfect motion resolution. 120 frames locked, which is not easy to get 120 frames locked on this game. I have the graphics max out on the game. The only thing I'm not using is ray tracing, of course. That's going to lower the performance dramatically. And I am using DLSS in performance mode. So that's when you realize that you would rather have, at least I would rather have less resolution on a static image, but get that perfection in movement. So if I use, for example, G-Sync and I use native 4K, well, native 4K on this game with that TAA looks blurry. So using DLSS on quality looks better than native 4K with TAA on this game. At least that's my perception. So you will realize that it doesn't matter to load that DLSS to ultra performance if you can get 120 frames locked with black frame insertion. That's gonna be a lot better than just getting 190 frames DLSS quality. And not, in G-Sync it's gonna be more responsive, but it's not going to look like this in movement. This is perfect. This is perfection in movement. It's beautiful. I mean, that's the reason why I got this TV. If I turn on this TV the first time and I nail the settings like this, I would be so happy with it. But the problem, this TV out of the box was crushing blacks a lot more, and I learned that that's normal. That's the way it's supposed to be. But also the colors were terrible, terrible, terrible. The colors were very, very bad. So yeah, that's why I was so unhappy with it. But the colors improve over time, and I also learned how to configure and how to set up the TV the way I like it, especially with that color on native. So yeah, if I compare this with a plasma TV right now with this setting, so I was showing on the previous video the plasma and this TV side by side and looking as close as possible, they were looking the same, to be honest. The same in terms of luminance level and colors, almost the same. But the difference is the plasma, you move the camera and it's retaining the resolution. So the way to get that result on the OLED is with black frame insertion. And with black frame insertion, it's challenging to get the brightness back, but I just did it with those settings. And it's working very well on this game because this game has low latency built into it. But some games, you do the same settings I'm doing right now, and you're going to see it's too much input lag, too much. But, you know, it's hit and miss, basically what I'm saying. Black frame insertion is hit and miss. That's it. But when it hits, and when you can get 120 frames, it's perfect. It's perfect, perfect, perfect. Like a giant, this is like a giant CRT. So if you show me a CRT that's 48 inches, I mean, and it's 4K, well, I would be a lot better than this for sure. But you know, you cannot get that anyway. Well, that would be incredible. 48-inch CRT, that is gonna weigh like a ton, 2 tons maybe. That's gonna weigh a ton at least, like 1,000 pounds. And 4K, man, that would be unbelievable. In movement, that would be sharp. Maybe not sharper than an OLED to read a text in Windows, but for games and everything, when you move that camera on a CRT and you keep exactly the same resolution, it's not going to drop, like none, like no drop in resolution, and the input lag is non-existent. Like, it's gonna be perfection in movement, perfection in response. It's gonna feel so responsive. The colors are gonna be beautiful. So yeah, I'm just dreaming about it. It's a dream. Yeah, there's only 2 guys here remaining. They are trying to fight each other. So you see those fast movement. This person is probably playing with a mouse and keyboard, because you see those fast movement. It's amazing. When you move the camera so fast, you still see everything. It's amazing. Let's see who wins. I think this lady's gonna win. Yeah. See the other guy. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm happy with it, man. At least this game is looking impeccable at 120 frames. There are some games like God of War that I want to see the HDR properly, and yeah. By the way, I'm gonna make a video about God of War. Tone mapping on is better on God of War. I'm gonna make a video about that.